Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to explain a brief introduction into shamanism. I'm going to answer most of the basic questions about shamanism. So, question number one, what is shamanism? So, the first and foremost definition of shamanism is a way of life. A person may be a shaman, but not necessarily a healer because you heal yourself first and then you help others. So, an extended version of definition is that a shaman is a spiritual work to help heal or activate yourself or another person. And you find that shamanism is just also being in touch with the natural world and the spiritual realm. And sometimes it also it becomes when a person has raised their awareness higher than an average person. Question number two, who is a shaman? So again, a shaman is a person that has applied a certain spiritual discipline to raise their awareness and become aware of the spiritual realm. So besides just being a healer, they are also healing themselves and they improve themselves. And they have the ability to peer into the spiritual realms and see the root causes of most of the people's problems. So question number three, how does one becomes a shaman? So in most cases, as far as the healing practices, the shamans, they are usually you're born to be a shaman. This one does not necessarily mean that you're born and then you discover you're a shaman. No, you just have keen interest in the spiritual realm. You like to know about the natural life, and you like to help people. So you find out somebody just eventually they have that fire burning in them, and then as they do their research, they learn from different teachers and they get insights, then eventually they become a shaman. So, even if you go and then train yourself for shaman, that's just like the first thing is just you really had that interest. So you're born to be a shaman. So question number four. So what kind of powers and ability does a shaman have? So when you look on the baseline, at least a shaman should have that ability to have insights about the spiritual realm. When they're in touch with the spiritual realm. So that way they can help others spiritually. But when you look it on the advanced advanced shamans, they usually have a, a lot of abilities. Some can see the future, some have the ability to heal, some can influence even the weather, some can remotely heal a person or even influence a person and things like that. So, question number five, where do shamanic powers come from? So, in a shamanic practice, there are five major sources where a shaman constantly obtain their power. So, the first thing is the power items. The power item could be something like a crystal and then maybe an enchanted drums, maybe a pot, and things like that. So, these things they have behind them they have energies that it can be tuned in to help a shaman perform their work. And item number two is the practice itself. So most of shaman you find out maybe they do mantras or they meditate. They go in places where they feel connected more with the earth itself and things like that. So the practice itself also gives the shaman power. They constantly improve the shaman. And then number three is also known as the his allies. The allies are usually non-physical entities that can help a shaman in many ways. They can give him instruction. They can tell them insights about someone. They can also bestow powers or initiate a shaman himself. And allies also can be the ancestors because shamanism, most of the time, it's something that has been passed down from generation to generation. And then number four is the use of plants and herbs. Plants and herbs, beside physical healing, they also have spiritual healing. They have spiritual properties where, when applied on a person, they can remove that negative energies. And then number five is the power location, locations where you go and you receive, you have a higher connection with the spiritual realms. And these places can be from the mountains to the rivers, the big tree, and things like that. So when you go in this location, you have more awareness into the spiritual realm. So, question number six: what kind of religion does shamanism associated themselves with? So you gotta keep in mind that shamanism has been around like forever from the dawn of humanity, and it has been around before even all the religions existed. But to say in the least, shamanism is really a philosophy where they believe that, where we believe that everything is alive. So even a tree, a rock, a house, everything is alive. So that way we respect everything as we respect ourselves. So that is the base of the spirit, the shamanism morality. So question number seven: is shamanism an evil practice? The answer is no, because on the basic level, shamanism is about improving yourself, healing yourself, and also doing the same thing to others. So how can it be an evil practice? It only becomes an evil practice when a shaman uses their knowledge and skills to harm someone else, or they use it for their own selfish purposes. And this is when a shaman become a bad witch or a sorceress because they use that knowledge to harm someone else. Question number eight: is there a biblical reference to shamanism? Again, so shamanism is about helping people in society. So when you look in the Bible, there's so many prophets and so many teachers that were helping and healing other people. So even you look on the life of Jesus, Elijah, John the Baptist, and all these people were really helping other peoples. And they also use spiritual entities to help other people, like the Holy Spirit. So that it can be a reference. Then number nine: what is the role of a shaman? So the most of the time, the work of the shaman is to point out the root causes of your problem. Sometimes you may go to the doctor and then you just have this kind of diseases that keeps going on, and you try like so many things and you just can't seem to solve the problems. So even it comes to financial problems, social problems, or spiritual problems, that's when you meet you find a shaman that can help you to see things from the spiritual point of view. Question number 10: what happens during a shamanic work? So in most cases, a shaman consists of the initial ceremony, the session itself, and then closing of the session. So before, most of the shaman, before they start the session, they would first invite and honor their ancestors and deities and the client's ancestors and deities. This is because they would first have to seek permission to enter into somebody's spiritual realm. Because sometimes, if you don't do so, the client's deities might prevent a shaman to enter in their spiritual space. And this is because sometimes a person is protected by their own ancestors, and when someone is trying to be intrusive, then the those guardians will just prevent this person to enter there, and that's why it's important to do this, to invite and ask for permission first. And then a shaman would just go in to see anything that doesn't align with the spiritual qualities, and then they would tell the client that there's this and this problem that needs to be solved. And then if the client accepts the shaman suggestion, then the session would go on. And sometimes these sessions they might even take a week, even a month, because sometimes it's kind of like, go do this and then come back, do this and come back until the problem is solved. So question number 11. What kinds of tools does a shaman use? So a shaman uses the power tools that they most of the time are enchanted, or it's the spiritual gift that they are given in the spiritual realm, and then they would make them with their hands and use them as their tools. So most of the tools is like clay pots, feathers, skins, animal bones, twigs, rods, and such things. So question number 12, what does a shaman wear? So most of the time a shaman wears their traditional clothing. This is because they honor their ancestors and then they invoke that shamanic state so that they can perform their ritual in a perfect manner. But some shamans they just they don't necessarily follow that tradition of wearing their custom clothing or whatever. Question number 13. Where is shamanism practiced today? So shamanism is still broadly practiced almost everywhere around the world. Even if you go in the big cities like New York, um, any place really you'll find a shaman. You can find like local shamans, and there are some shamans who are invited by a group of people, and you'll find them almost anywhere. Question number 14. What are the benefits of shamanic work? So you might ask, why do I need a shaman? So a shaman will give you insight about yourself and your life in general. Most of people these days are, they don't know if they want to take a certain career. They don't know their life purpose. They they are probably they've tried every kind of business. It doesn't work out. Most of their relationship don't last. Most of their you know relationship with their family doesn't work. So a shaman is just really there to solve those problems, or at least give you an insight of what is really going on in your life. So there's really many benefits of this shamanic work. Question number 15. So what are the limitations of shamanism? So shamanism doesn't it's not really a shaman is not really a perfect person. Remember that the shaman is also cultivating themselves. They're also improving themselves daily. So there are some things that a shaman cannot do because of many reasons. Like I said before, it can be something that your deities wants you to be in that situation. So a shaman would really just give you an insight and tell you you are in this situation because you're supposed to learn a certain lesson or whatever that will give you a peace of mind. But in most cases, shamans are not to be considered like God or they can do anything. They also have their own limitation. So those are the most common question asked about shamanism. If you have any further questions and shamanic related services, there's a contact in the description below. Thank you.